Hello, truth seekers, welcome to krouzzlife TV, your #1 YouTube channel that provides you with facts, with zero to very minimal errors. Today we all should be able to understand the scope of street fashion. Street fashion is fashion that is considered to have emerged not from studios, but from the grassroots streetwear. Street fashion is generally associated with youth culture, and is most often seen in major urban centers. The street approach to style and fashion is often based on individualism, rather than focusing solely on current fashion trends. Using street style methods, individuals demonstrate their multiple, negotiated identities, in addition to utilizing subcultural and intersecting styles or trends. Street style is an incredibly viral, instant, addictive facet of fashion that has changed many of the ways in which fashion is made and consumed. Its fast characteristic links it also to the term consumerism. Given how styles change over time, it also challenges the use of fast fashion in relation to the purchasing and wearing of clothing, as this conceals the complexities of practice. The development of street style. Street style has always existed, but it has become a phenomenon of 20th century. The increase in the standardization of life after World War II, suburbanization, mass marketing, the spread of television, may be linked to the appeal of alternative lifestyles for individuals in search of identity. Industrial production, particularly in the sphere of fashion, was not only the popularization of stylists' tastes that move from high fashion, through pre-TA-porter, to the peripheries of the system. These were also tastes that originated among economically disfavored, marginal groups, the whole range of metropolitan tribes, that are able to trigger new fashion production and diffusion processes. The history of identity and the history of clothing run on two parallel rails. In this connection, street style works as a facilitator of group identity and subcultural cohesion. Since the close of World War II, Western culture has seen a dramatic decline in the significance of the traditional socio-cultural divisions such as race, religion, ethnicity, regionalism, nationalism, in defining and limiting personal identity. The tribe groupings, such as bikers, beats, and teddy boys in the 1950s, mods, hippies, and skinheads in the 1960s, headbangers, punks, and b-boys in the 1970s, and goths, new age travelers and ravers in the 1980s got dressed and unusual body decoration as an expression to create a sense of identity. In the first half of the 20th century, although the unaccompanied figure of the woman in the street was seen increasingly frequently in fashion photographs, she often remained bound by the feminine pursuits of a bourgeois existence, with the reality of the street a beautifying prop to the unreal fantasy of high-end fashion. As an object of gaze, her position contrasted with that of the flaneur and the male-privileged code of visual spectatorship. It was until the post-war period, with the emergence of style-conscious magazines aimed at men, that the image of the flaneur, somewhat melded with the more modern notion of the man about town, began to be visualized in fashion photography. Metropolitan masculinity was shown to be influenced by the industrial atmosphere of the metropolis. This is well illustrated by Terence Donovan, photographer, *s grainy black and white photographs of sharply suited men in spy drama for the October 1962 issue of Town, which became famous as the visual influence for the filmic interpretation of James Bond. In this period, the representation of the woman in the street was radicalized by the emergence of youth as a social category and its claiming of street culture as its primary context. The 20th century is characterized by the interconnection between street style and fashion industry. In attempt to cover the question, what were the original roots of the phenomenon, street style, it seems possible to point out authenticity and the desire to express some meaningful intention through such a fashionable practice as major forces. In the post-war period, when the problem of real meanings, social identity and lost ideologies arose, street style got strong impetus to the development. Concerning more recent stages of street style development, the way of purchasing and general perception of this fashion trend is rather different from the middle of 20th century. Thus, street style has evolved from a common social practice, embodied by particular socio-cultural groups, to the important segment of mass fashion industry. This process was very long and accompanied by extensive social, cultural and economical changes. Street style itself is an application of ordinary people, included the people who use their sport outfits on their daily basis. However, it is obvious that they get affected by supermodels who are working for various sportives brands. Therefore, it gets easier to influence ordinary people with the sense of sportive clothing. Kanye West, famous as a rapper and record producer, presented his new musical album The Life of Pablo with a new collection of sport clothes which he produced in collaboration with Adidas. Rihanna, American R&B singer, elaborated a line of sneakers in cooperation with Puma brand. On the other hand, the number of sportsmen and sportswomen became a fashionable leading figures. David Beckham, initially known to the wide auditory as a successful football player, now can be easily found on pages of fashion magazines. Sport practice which particularly influenced the forming of a street style is skateboarding. The image of the street style follower often corresponds with skateboarding practice. Sneakers with the special soles that keep the feet from slipping on the board came to street style and were founded in wardrobes of not skaters. Currently, social media channels have become an efficient way in fashion practices to keep in touch with the consumer base as well as increase it through brand exposure. Blogs that focus on fashion brands and products, street style and personal style in particular are the largest categories of the blogs. Fashion blogs, or style blogs, are blogs that focus on fashion and beauty and are produced by bloggers who self-identify as stylists, creating their own authentic looks and exposing them in urban spaces. As the result of the immense outspread of fashion blogs, the level of engagement between the individual and fashion industry has risen dramatically. The gap between fashion houses, publications, and individuals is narrowing. Within the everyday, people can communicate via the blogosphere, sharing their personal, individualized expressions of self. By utilizing texts, including images and narratives, from fashion blogs, individuals can view, and thus, approach dress from an innovative, individualized perspective. Fashion choices are more visible, accessible, and relatable through the fashion blog space due to these sites' availability, user-friendliness, and constant change, i.e., uploading of new images and narratives. Blogs, in contrast to traditional fashion practices, represent varied images and bodies. Instagram, a leading mobile application for stylizing and sharing photos on the web, has proved popular not only among street style amateurs, but also among street style photographers, some of whom have amassed followings in the thousands. Instagram is viewed as relatively cheap, quick, flexible and widely available platform. It allows getting immediate feedback from the users, which makes it possible to stay up to date with latest changes and trends in fashion and in street style, in particular. Instagram gave life to a specific Instagram-based community of street style photographers and models, who also work as an additional channel of communication from fashion providers and consumers. Consequently, many of well-followed photographers started including more street style photography in their portfolios, which was not the case before Instagram. In Instagram environment, the focus is on visual image rather than on the content. That is why not everything from the street style galleries should be taken at its face value. Even though the street style photos from Instagram look effortless, numerous attempts to make a perfect shot remain behind the photo. Moreover, the clothing that looks good in pictures may seem rather theatrical and pretentious in real life, especially against the urban background. These 6 trends are buzzing the streets for long but have a major comeback since December 2020. Before then, the streets have always been my fashion magazines, aka where I look for style inspiration and hints on what trends are about to blow up. Pre-2020 me was very much inspired by what I saw strangers wearing on the subway, to the farmer's market, or even to the bodega. I recall doing double takes often to mentally process the new trends or outfit ideas I'd seen so I could later take a crack at them myself. Who knows, I may have even gone on to influence someone else when I put some of those streetwear trends to the test. I usually look to fashion on the streets in big cities like New York and Paris, but since the streets have been closed for the past year, I've now turned to Instagram to fill the void Union Square once filled. Turns out Instagram fits are big predictors of the cool trends to come. Below are the streetwear trends I can't wait to try. 1. Velour tracksuits. I recently read that the 70s were as far away in the mid-90s as the 90s are now. After taking a moment to digest what that means for me, I was able to understand why Gen Z is having a heyday with everything 90s. Baby fat and juicy couture had a hold on us back then, and cool girls continue to wear velour tracksuits today. 2. Crochet pants. Crochet is making a huge comeback this year, appearing everywhere from pants and tops to swimwear and bags. 3. Varsity jackets. The Varsity Jackets got its name from the boys, and it is best when the size is slightly oversized, so expect the unexpected in the men's section. 4. Pleats. Pleats have remarkable ability to feel boogie, maybe because they are comfortable, but the major reason for pleats are mostly due to the choice of the owner. 5. Printed denim. Denim recently every color and pattern which was not so previously. My favorite aspect of this trend is its ability to give rise to new color and pattern combination that would definitely surprise you. 6. The Harrington Jackets. Since the beginning of 2021, we all could see the Harrington jacket versus the leather jackets, making the Harrington more superior compared to the leather counterparts due to the cost-efficient